just love the enthusiasm out here at Taylor Field, and I know when I was a player out here, it sure helped our team.
All right, let's see if it helps the Riders right now. They have first down at their 30. Nagel throws, caught by Ronnie Robinson. He has first down. Saskatchewan out over the 45 to the 47. With the tackle being made by Giorgio Heath.
Well, maybe that's the play that'll trigger this Saskatchewan offense, because really they've done little or nothing in the first quarter as Don Huffnagel hits Ronnie Robinson on the out pattern. Jojo Heath coming up to make the tackle with a little help from Steve Aykroyd.
First down of the ball game for the Riders, Lee. Ball is at the 47-yard line. Huffnagel throws. Talbot makes the catch at the Toronto 50 and gets into the 48-yard line. It'll be another Saskatchewan first down. John Rose makes the stop, number 6. But finally, the Riders come alive in this, the final minute of the opening quarter.
Well, respecting the great speed of Joey Walters, who took 2 people deep with him, that left Emmanuel Tobert wide open on the sidelines. And as you said, Pat, they're finally getting on track.
Well, they just looked so flat for most of that opening quarter. Now they look like the Saskatchewan Roughriders that we've seen perform so well in the last couple of years. Greg Figure, the ball carrier, gets inside the 45 to about the 43-yard line. He'll have a gain of about 4 yards.
You know, Pat, actually, the Toronto Argonaut defense has made a subtle change tonight. They have been playing that 3-man line throughout their first 3 games of the season, but now they've inserted number 64, Leon Leskevich, and going to that 4-man line with 6 defensive backs and 2 linebackers.
On second down, Huffnagel looking downfield, puts it up. And the pass is picked off. Another interception by Zach Henderson.
Well, he's been the most consistent defensive back for the Toronto Argonauts this year. Zach Henderson back from a stint in the NFL. Trying to hit Joey Walters on the quarter pattern, but Zach Henderson, playing that center field, comes up with the interception.
All right, it's 17-1 at the end of the first quarter in favor of Toronto. We'll return with second quarter action in a moment.
Car? Well, here's some good news from your favorite Buick dealers. We're offering 12.5% lease finance rate when you lease a new Buick. And if you've been waiting for the perfect time to buy your new Buick, here's more good news. For a limited time, Buick Motor Division is offering its dealers up to $400 in incentives on any new Skyhawks or Skylarks you choose. Special lease financing, closeout prices, and up to $400 in incentives on Skyhawks and Skylarks tomorrow at your favorite Buick dealer.
The season is right for professional football from Canada. The passing. The scoring. The all-out wide-open game. It's here for a 3rd straight year. The CFL, only on your Total Sports Network, ESPN.
Well, let's watch the Toronto Argonauts now as they start from their 12-yard line to open this second quarter of play after the 3rd turnover of the ball game, which has gone to Toronto. That was Bob Brock, number 34, the ball carrier, hit immediately by Mike Sampras, number 66.
Here we get a chance to see the interception by Zach Anderson playing that middle safety spot. Good range as he comes over to make the interception, trying to hit Joey Walters deep on that corner pattern, but you have to be impressed with this Toronto Argonaut defense. They've made the plays.
Well, as you can see, Conrad Holloway has completed 5 of 10. John Huffnagel just 3 of 7. It is 2nd and 9, Toronto, the ball at their 13-yard line. And again, this is Gronk. Gronk really protecting the ball. Gets out over the 15 to about the 17. The Argos were not going to be flashy on that situation. They just wanted to protect the ball, make sure they didn't cough it up. They'll be punting now, trying to gain more favorable field position as this quarter rolls along.
I think so. Nothing fancy about that series, but really when you're backed up and you have a 16-point lead, I think you have to play it pretty close to the vest, and the defense has played well, so you have to hope they can continue doing that.
We heard Cedric Miller say that the Argos were hoping to get their act together. I think John Huffnagel had best get his together, or there was going to be warming up at the end of the runway, old 747 himself. the substitute quarterback, Joe Adams. Oh, what a punt by Zenon Andrusician. Frazier's all the way back to his 22-yard line. But he does a good job of returning it out over the 40 to about the 42. Don Rose made the tackle for Toronto, but the Riders will be starting at their 42, trailing 17-1 early here in the second quarter. Argos came into this ball game anywhere from 7 to 10-point underdogs. Incidentally, that was a 70-yard punt by Andrusician and a 20-yard return.
Well, I'm glad I was a receiver, Pat, because I could never figure out all these X's and O's and circles on the board.
Well, it's been effective so far for the Argos.
Certainly has.
Hofnagel throws. Joey Walters makes the catch up at the, well, right at midfield. Stop was made for Toronto by John Pointer.
Well, each team has their big play man, and unquestionably, Joey Walters does that for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. In a game a few weeks ago against the BC Lions, he made just a tremendous one-hand catch for a touchdown in the end zone. As we see, just hooking up in between those linebackers, going high in the air. Excellent catch.
Coming into the ball game, Joey had 14 catches and the touchdown that Leaf referred to. First down at midfield, Saskatchewan. Pass is complete to Krista France, number 74, for another Saskatchewan first down in at the Toronto 42-yard line. JoJo Heath, the cornerback on that side, number 24, made the stop.
Well, the strength of the Rough Rider offense are their two excellent slot backs, and this time Hofnagel goes to Krista France, picking up another first down, and really an impressive drive.
13 yards to gain as you watch France take it in. Riders have the ball at the Toronto 42-yard line. They need a touchdown desperately. Hofnagel throws. The pass is through the hands of Joey Walters, who went high in the air but couldn't bring it down. Good hit by Steve Aykroyd.
Second and 10 from the 42.
So it'll be second and 10, Saskatchewan. We're just nicely underway here in the second quarter on a beautiful night here at Taylor Field in Regina. Argos surprising the Riders and this packed house here tonight. 100% capacity and then some. They've got a lot of fans sitting in the end zone on the grassy knoll there. Hofnagel puts it up. And it was stripped away. Good defensive play for the Argos as Joey Walters tried to haul it down, but Leo Gray, the newcomer in that Argos secondary, number 28, ripped it right out of his hands.
Well, Joey Walters almost comes up with a circus catch here, working at number 28, Leo Gray. The ball thrown behind him, and look at the effort. Really good play by Leo Gray as well to break up that pass play.
And the field goal unit is out onto the field for Saskatchewan. They've only got a single point, and that came on the opening play of the ball game as Ridgway put it 10 yards deep in the end zone. And Toronto's Mike Kirkley decided to concede the single. The Argos then started from their 35, and they were on their way to this 17-1 advantage. Ridgway is a Burlington, Ontario fellow who went to the University of Toledo. His field goal try doesn't make it to the goal area. Look at this return by Zach Henderson. Henderson gets it all the way out over the 45 to the 48-yard line. And so the Argos, rather than starting deep in their own territory, will be out over their 45-yard line. Let's watch it again.
Wow, what a return by Zach Henderson. He's playing a heck of a game. And as we look to choose our Carling Defensive Player of the Game, we'll certainly have to consider Zach Henderson.
It is Toronto 17, Saskatchewan 1. We'll be back in just a moment.
Saturday, former Notre Dame quarterback Tom Clements will need the luck of the Irish when he leads the Hamilton Tiger Cats onto the field against the Calgary Stampeders. All the action comes your way live when these two high-scoring teams meet on the Canadian Gridiron Saturday. It's a Super Bowl 12 rematch when the Dallas Cowboys try to outscore the Denver Broncos. Tuesday on All-Star Sports Challenge.
Michelob brings you the 7-day weekend, Southern style. The style and grace that is the South is reflected in one great beer, Michelob. That smooth and mellow taste has its own special way of saying, y'all come back and see us anytime.
There's nothing better on a rainy night in Georgia.
Put a little weekend in your week.
Yeah.
That lovely young miss won't be able to see Bill Simons, who will be Johnny Esau's guest on yesterday in the CFL at halftime. Bill Simons, one of the most popular Argonauts to ever wear the red and blue uniform. And he's Johnny Esau's feature this week. The toss goes back to Martin Cox. And Cox is nailed back at the line of scrimmage at the 45-yard line, tripped up there by Billy McBride, number 10.
Well, the old reverse as we see Zach Henderson on the bench after that excellent return of the missed field goal. The Saskatchewan defense wasn't fooled by that as Billy McBride came in and stopped Martin Cox in the backfield for a loss.
Zach Henderson, the former University of Oklahoma Sooner, former teammate of Bruce Pedersen in Hamilton last year, playing well for the Argos. It is 2nd and 15, Toronto. Holloway throws. He's going deep for Pearson, but it's overthrown.
Holloway passes in it for a
Billy
ball.
McBride is step for step with him down the touchline. But it goes incomplete, and Zen and Andrew Sisson will be punting again with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in the first half. That, would you believe, Toronto leads 17-1. Well, the coaching staff just has to be exalted at this result so far in this ball game. They probably wish the game was coming to an end rather than the first half.
The word on the bench in the Toronto Argonauts side where I am, Pat Leaf, is remember, 60 minutes, 60 minutes. They're convinced that they have not been winning because they haven't been giving 60-minute performances.
Well, you're right, because Valabilovic said the same thing to me yesterday on the plane. What another punt by Zen and Andrew Sisson. Fraser's back to his 5-yard line. And again, the coverage unit is there to contain Fraser. He gets to the 15, about the 18-yard line, and that's where Saskatchewan will be starting when we come back. They trail 17-1 to the Toronto Argonauts, and we will be back in just a moment.
Pro football, that's my sport. I could watch every game right through the Super Bowl. And if you're my kind of fan, you've got to know everything about your favorite team, the competition, the whole league, right? Right. Well, here's a great way to get it all. The Sporting News 1982 Pro Football Yearbook. A hard-nosed, fact-filled team-by-team report with rosters, schedules, draft picks, and more. Written by the experts, the 28 reporters who cover each team for the Sporting News during the season. Plus, 18 feature articles on every angle of pro football. The superstars, top prospects, team styles, with great action shots in color. The inside stuff that puts you in the know for the whole season, because it comes from the pros who've been covering sports for 97 years. Get the Sporting News 1982 Pro Football Yearbook at your newsstand. Better grab one before somebody tries to tell you the score.
Ed Marcel, my director, said you've seen lots of sunrises, but not too many sunsets. And there's a beautiful one here in Regina. As Bill suggested at the top, just a lovely evening. The give is to Greg Figure, and Figure bolts his way to about the 20 for a gain of a couple. As the Riders have to be conservative down here, they're at their own 20-yard line, trailing 17-1. They're still in the ball game, but another turnover here. They've had 3 of them so far in the game. Could be disastrous.
Well, the Roughriders have been known as a come-from-behind team, so certainly this ball game's a long way from being over.
Huffnagel has not gotten out to a good start, though, this year. He's under 50% of his passing completion. Throws that time, and it's knocked down by John Pointer, number 37. The former Edmonton Eskimo linebacker whom the Argos acquired, and they think that he could be one of their mainstays for many years to come.
Well, I'll tell you, Pat, I think that's the key change that the Argonauts made in their defense for this ball game was inserting John Pointer into the lineup because he is excellent at coming on the blitz and also very good range on that pass coverage.
5 out of 12, less than 50% for John Hufnagel in passing tonight for a total of 69 yards. As Ken Clark comes into the ball game to boot for Saskatchewan. Andrew Sisson has punted extremely well for Toronto tonight. He's had 2 punts, one of 70, the other of 61. This is a good punt by Clark as Cox was forced back to his 42-yard line and then crosses to the 47, and that's about it because Stuart Fraser is quickly downfield to make the tackle. Well, they'll be expecting an all-time record crowd for a sports event in Western Canada on Sunday afternoon when the Edmonton Eskimos and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers battle for second place at Commonwealth Stadium. They'll get it all underway at 2 o'clock, and if you happen to be living in Edmonton and have a ticket, consider yourself fortunate because, boy, there's going to be a lot of people disappointed in not having the opportunity to see that game. First down, Toronto, the ball at their 47. Holloway throws. It is very nearly picked off. Jumping in front of the intended receiver was number 24, Marshall Hamilton.
Well, the Roughriders back in zone coverage, and Marshall Hamilton, he read that play all the way, and Conrad Holloway is very fortunate that he didn't come up with the interception because he saw what was coming and stepped in front of Jan Carinci. Unfortunately, he couldn't hold on to the football.
Conrad has not had a big night throwing the ball. He's only 5 out of 12, which incidentally is the same as Hufnagel. You see, Marshall Hamilton was somewhat disappointed that he didn't make that interception. 2nd and 10. Holloway going deep for Martin Cox, and he couldn't bring it in. Just went off his fingertips as he put his left hand out trying to make a one-handed grab.
Well, give that Toronto offensive line credit. The Roughriders were coming with the all-out blitz, and they picked it up, giving Holloway the time to throw that pass, and unfortunately just out of the reach of Martin Cox, but he was in behind Steve Dennis.
8 minutes left to play in this first half. Toronto 17, Saskatchewan 1. Riders not being able to move the ball offensively. Mind you, they've had very poor field position most of the ball game. Another great kick by Andrew Sisson. Fraser's at his 5. He gets out over the 15 to about the 18-yard line. A 58-yard boot by Andrew Sisson. Bill, what's happening?
Well, you know, Leaf has told us before that he's a great fan of Gaynor, who is the CKCK-TV mascot out here at all these games. And Gaynor, he says that he's a great friend of yours too, Leaf, and he wants to show us how you used to catch the ball when you were a member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. All right, Gaynor, get set. Are you ready? Too bad. Well, we'll be back in a moment.
Gaynor of the Gophers.
For outstanding economy, here's ultra mileage.
I need it.
For economy that boosts, here's a powerful engine.
I need it.
For headroom, legroom, trunk room, value.
We need this right. New Nissan Sentra. Tucson. We are driven.
Get the best seat in the house when ESPN takes you to Cooperstown for live coverage of the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. See home run king Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, Travis Jackson, Happy Chandler, and Vin Scully take their place among baseball's immortals. And see it live Sunday on your Total Sports Network.
This is ESPN, the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network.
Slow motion look at the injury to number 21, Mike Kirkley, was really hit by his own man, Mike Hamilton, as we see here coming in on the tackle. He gets Kirkley right in the back with his helmet. I'll tell you, that's smart.
First down, Saskatchewan, the ball at their 18-yard line. Hufnagel's pass intended for McCorkindale goes incomplete. I thought they were very unkind to you, suggesting that Gaynor the Gopher caught just the way you did. I don't think he Really, I thought it was a bad imitation, but I do think he looks a little bit like you.
Well, he's better looking, but boy, I tell you, Bill Stevenson, I owe you one for that. Gaynor used to be a friend of mine. The romance is over, I'll tell you.
Gaynor says he really loves you. You know, one thing about Gaynor is, you know, Lee, most mascots of teams are not really members of the community. But if anybody who has lived on the prairie knows, Gophers, well, they're really members of the community on the prairies, I'll tell you.
It is second down, Saskatchewan. Hufnagel delivers. Joey Walters could not hang on because of the great hit by Zach Henderson. Boy, Zach played well in virtually every game. He had a fumble
No
last
doubt
game.
about it. Zach Henderson from his safety position is just enjoying an outstanding evening. The ball delivered on the money, but it's just a great hit by Henderson here that breaks up the play, and he has a reputation as being one of the toughest hitters in the league.
The Riders, who really have not shown very much, and some of their fans, I guess, are deciding they're going to leave. She's not too impressed with the offensive performance of the Riders tonight. But let's see if Kenny Park can get them out of trouble now. He's punting on 3rd and 10, standing inside his 5-yard line. Good high punt. This is Carinci starting at about his 44. And he gets away. Carinci gets into the Saskatchewan 50-yard line. Let's go to Bill.
Here's the fellow that Pat and Leaf have been talking about a lot tonight because, Zach, you are having a great game.
Well, they seem to be having a lot come my way, and I'm just fortunate enough to be there when the ball gets there.
Well, you really stopped Saskatchewan when they had a drive going. That was a key interception.
Well, thank you very much. Darrell had him covered real good, and Hufnagel just kind of put the ball up in there, and I was able to get under it and pick it off. Thanks.
All right, it's first down, Toronto. The pass is complete to Martin Cox. And Cox is wrapped up at the 45-yard line by Steve Dennis, and it's a good thing that Stick was able to hang on because it looked for a moment as though Cox might be able to shake free, and had he done so, he might have gone the distance. The gain is about 6 yards, so make it 2nd and 4. Rick Moore, number 76, the Cal Davis grad, came to the Toronto Argonauts from the BC Lions just at the conclusion of training camp. Inside to Bob Bronk. And Bronk reaches for the yardstick, which would give him a first down, but I don't think he made it.
Well, Pat, you know, when we look back at the end of the game and make our choice for the Panasonic play of the game, I really think so far you'd have to consider Mike Hamillock's fumble recovery that really got the Argonauts off to a good start early in the first quarter. That led to their first major and really was the turning point so far in this first half.
Couldn't agree with you more. That was such a big play because it really lifted the Argos, and you could just see the old adrenaline fall right out of the bodies of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Really disappointed. Now, what do you do here? 3rd and less than a yard. Do you go for it?
No question about it. You go for it. When you're out in Saskatchewan playing in Taylor Field, you don't leave anything at home.
All right, 5 minutes, 27 seconds left to play in the half. Toronto 17, Saskatchewan 1. If the Argos can maintain this drive, they might get another major score. And if they do, can the Riders come from that far off the pace? We're going to find out in the next couple of hours.
Hey, you know, the story in the first half hasn't been the great offense of the Toronto Argonauts. It's just that they have taken advantage of the turnovers by the Riders.
3rd and a yard to go. Big play. Holloway keeps it himself. He will have the first down. He's very close to the 40-yard line.
Well, good surge by the Toronto offensive line. Holloway just following number 69, Dan Ferroni, and picking up the first down easily.
Your comment was very insightful about the Toronto Argonaut offense not having a great night. You're right. They've only had 5 first downs the entire ball game, and that one was the first for the Argos in this second quarter. We've got 4 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in the half. Holloway for Martin Cox, no good. Broken up by the stick man himself, Steve Dennis.
Well, a great play by the stick man, number 25, Steve Dennis. We see he gets in front of Martin Cox to get the hand on the football. Just an outstanding defensive play. I might add, too, that the Rough Riders really were putting the heat on Conrad Holloway. Mike Samples from that nose guard spot putting a lot of pressure on.
Holloway, 6 for 15 for 66 yards. Terry Greer could not make the catch. And Greer is a little slow getting to his feet, and I'm sure that cameraman's going to be a little more careful the next time he's on the sidelines, too.
Hey, that's the best hit of the game so far, without a doubt.
All right, it is third down. Zenit Andrusician is on the field. If they go for the field goal, it will come from the 48-yard line.
Hey, Conrad Holloway a little disappointed here because he had Terry Greer open and just failed to put the ball on the money. Watch this cameraman here. Talk about getting a close picture.
Andrusician's field goal try will come from the 48-yard line. It is good. The Toronto Argonauts have gone out in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders 20-1 with 3 minutes and 58 seconds left to play in the first half.
Well, that's the key, to take advantage of all your opportunities, and the Big Z delivers there with the field goal.
Well, this is an obvious comment, but I don't think there's any doubt that this is the best performance by the Argonaut defensive club so far this year, because they are playing pretty good football there.
Certainly are, as we see the Big C changing shoes on the sideline. One of the few straight-on kickers left in the league. I would say he and Dave Cutler are the only ones that I'm aware of.
All right, here come the fans now with the pom-poms. The music is blaring. They want the Riders to get it moving.
76. Thank you.
First down, Saskatchewan from their 35. Hufnagel throws. The catch is made by Emmanuel Colbert, and he will have the first down. Colbert got over the 45 to about the 46-yard line before he was forced out by Don Rose, the cornerback on that side from Hampton Institute is where he went to school.
Well, a good first down call by John Hufnagel, but I really think that the key for the Toronto Argonaut defense at this point is to keep those receivers in front of them and give up the short stuff like they just did, but not allow Saskatchewan to get back in the ballgame with the big play.
3 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first half. It is Toronto 20, Saskatchewan 1. On the draw, this is Krieger. And Gregg roars down to the Toronto 50-yard line. 5.2 average coming into this ball game, and that time he runs for how many, Bobby? 15 yards.
Well, the draw play to Greg Fieger coming off a 2-touchdown performance last week. Excellent play selection by John Hufnagel.
Toronto 20, Saskatchewan 1. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's more natural than Natural Light.
When one of the best meals in town is going down right in your own backyard, what's more natural than Natural Light beer? Ah, Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch. The beer with the taste for food. Just naturally right with all the good food you love to grill. So when the coals are hot...
What's more natural than Natural Light?
It's a capacity crowd here at Taylor Field in Regina, seeing some of the lovelies perform. And they would like to be able to stir up this Saskatchewan offense that really has been virtually non-existent tonight. 3 minutes and 6 seconds left to play in the half. Toronto surprising the Riders 20-1 at this point. Ball is at the Toronto 51-yard line. Hufnagel, as you see, good on 6 of 15 so far in the ball game. Puts it up for Tolbert, and it's knocked away by JoJo Heath. Fans wanted a flag on the play, but none is forthcoming.
I have to believe that maybe that ball slipped out of John Hufnagel's hand a little bit because he really hung it up, and JoJo Heath comes over the top of Emmanuel Tolbert, makes an excellent defensive play, knocking the ball away.
Heath is a rookie with the Argonauts from the University of Pittsburgh. He's a confident young guy, bordering on cockiness, but he's a nice kid.
Second and 10.
But he really thinks himself and that secondary was top-notch.
I tell you, Pat, to play cornerback in professional football, you have to be cocky.
Second down, Toronto. Hufnagel goes down because of the sack of Rusty Olson, number 79. From the University of Washington, 6'2", 250-pound Rusty Olson puts that man, number 12, John Hufnagel, in the sack.
Second sack of the ball game for Rusty Olson. And I think the defensive changes that Toronto have made have been the key to this first half so far. Going to that four-man line and 6 defensive backs. With the four-man line, they put the pressure on the Rough Rider quarterback as we see Rusty Olson working on number 61, Brian Hillebrand, and he gets in there for his second sack of the ball game.
That means Ken Clark will be punting again with 2.5 minutes left to play in the second quarter. A high pass from center. Clark did a good job of hauling it down. Martin Cox from his 15-yard line. And Cox is out very close to the 35-yard line. Argo special teams again really doing a big job. 47 yards the punt and a 19-yard return for Martin Cox, who was finally brought down by Bernard West, number 46.
Well, all the special teams is really hustle and a little bit of desire, and Toronto certainly showed this in the first half. And that punt return team hustling back to try and create a lane for Martin Cox, and they did a good job as he picked up 19 yards.
The Argos start from just inside their 35-yard line. Holloway threw it on Terry Greer's break, but unfortunately the ball went inside. He went outside. Bill?
Rusty Olson, the man who made 2 sacks, as it was just announced by Pat. Rusty, when you do that, what is it? Is it just straight desire?
Well, it's got to be. You got to have just a hard outside rush, or just keep coming at it. You can't give up.
Desire seems to be a keynote with the Argos tonight.
Yeah, we're all fired up, and this is a big game for us.
Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you.
This nice, quiet fella. Spent some time with him last night as well. I was pretty active, very busy last night, getting all the inside stuff. And Rusty and I watched part of that Ottawa game together. Pass intended for Martin Cox. No good.
Well, they must have seen something on films about number 25, Steve Dennis, because they certainly tested him deep 3 times already with Martin Cox on that post pattern. But this time, the stick man had good coverage, and Cox couldn't come up with the catch.
And so with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in the second quarter, the Argos will be punting. Zenon Andrusician is averaging 52 yards a kick tonight, and he's 2 for 2 in the field goal department from 19 and 48 yards, respectively. Stuart Fraser, number 11, and Fran McDermott, number 29, back to receive this punt. It's not a particularly long one. McDermott from his 37-yard line. Here's a good return for the Riders. They needed something to spark them. Maybe that will do it. They will have possession at their 50-yard line with 1 minute and 58 seconds left to play in this first half that the Riders really have not been in. They grabbed a 1-0 lead on the first play of the ball game, and since then, the Argos have been the only team to score. Let's watch now. John Hufnagel has not been effective so far. If he can put together a good series, he may start the second half. If not, Joe Adams, the man they call 747, may make an appearance. Inside handoff is to McCorkindale, and McCorkindale gets into Toronto territory at the 53-yard line. His gain will be very close to 7 yards. Well, they spot it back now at the 54, so it's a gain of 6. Zach Henderson made the stop. Heidi, they bring the children here, and everybody has a big time. It really is a happening when the Riders are at home here in Saskatchewan. 2nd and 4, Saskatchewan. Hufnagel throws, and the catch is made by Tolbert. He'll have the first down for the Riders at the Toronto 47-yard line. With 1 minute 33 left to play in the half.
Well, John Hufnagel's very good at the 2-minute hurry-up offense as he hits Emmanuel Tolbert on the outsider, picking up the first down, but really good play selection, a draw and then a quick out. It really seems to be keeping that Toronto defense off balance.
Tolbert back into the Saskatchewan lineup after missing the first couple of games. Dwight Edwards is out of the lineup tonight, as is Jimmy Edwards. First down, Saskatchewan from their 47-yard line. Hufnagel gets inside the Toronto's 40 to about the 39-yard line, brought down by Leo Gray, number 28.
Well, when all the receivers are covered, sometimes you have to take off and run. John Hufnagel, not the quickest running quarterbacks in the league, certainly, but nevertheless, he did pick up 9 yards and giving him a good situation with 2nd and 1.
A minute 15 and the clock is moving. Left to play in the half. Toronto 20, Saskatchewan 1. Second down and a couple. The ball is fumbled by Greg Krieger. Let's see who's got it. Argos have recovered the ball. And so for the 4th time tonight, Saskatchewan coughs it up. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and the Argos were there to make the recovery.
Well, really, once again, mistakes killing the Rough Rider offense, and it shouldn't have happened at all. Just a simple handoff by Hufnagel. But Greg Krieger fumbled that football. Maybe that cast he's wearing on his left hand to protect that broken finger was the cause of it, but nevertheless, give the Argonauts credit. They were alert and picked up that fumble recovery.
Jeff Gabrielson, as you saw, number 72, was Johnny on the spot. He grabbed the fumble recovery. Toronto now with possession at their 35-yard line. They're not going to sit on the lead. Conrad wants to put it up to Terry Greer, who makes the catch and steps out of bounds at the 53-yard line. Coach Joe Ferragelli prevented him from crashing into the players' bench as Greer makes the catch near the sidelines.
Well, Terry Greer working against his old teammate, Marcellus Green, and he runs an excellent pattern, turning Marcellus Green around, makes the catch, and gets out of bounds. And the Toronto Argonauts have good field position now in Rough Rider territory, and they could add to their 20-1 lead.
56 seconds left to play in the second quarter. Toronto with a first down at the Saskatchewan 54-yard line. Holloway looks for Greer, overshoots him. And depending on the play was number 21, Marcellus Green.
Well, Holloway upset with himself over that throw, and he's downfield talking to Terry Greer. Maybe there was a little miscommunication between the two. You know, that run-and-shoot offense is predicated, as we talked last week, on timing between the quarterback and receivers, and that time, certainly the timing was off.
It stops the clock with 52 seconds left to play in the half. It is 2nd and 10, Toronto, from the Saskatchewan 54-yard line. Going deep for Terry Greer, and again, Holloway overshoots the intended receiver. Green was right with him, step to step down the sideline.
Really, Conrad's a frustrated quarterback this evening so far. You know, he's had some receivers open and just hasn't been able to click with them. We get a look at OB, Bob Ovilovich on the sidelines. An isolation look, good coverage, step for step. Marcellus Green covering Terry Greer.
You know, we had a look at Bob Ovilovich. The guy really is a workaholic. He's in the office every morning at 6:30, goes for a little run, then showers, has a coaches meeting at 7:30 every morning. This staff has worked very, very hard. And, of course, the results are obvious. The Argos are a much, much better football team than they were a year ago. In position with another good punt. Fraser takes it at the goal line. And he gets out over the 10 to about the 13. A 55-yard boot by Zenon Andrusician. And the Riders, with just 37 seconds left, will be starting at their 13-yard line. Steve Aykroyd, showing lots of hustle, was first downfield to make the tackle. Well, you're surprised, needless to say.
Well, I certainly am. I really expected the Rough Riders to come out with their air attack that's been so famous for them over the last couple of years. And really, the Toronto defense, I guess you have to give them all the credit because they've just totally shut them down. And I think that strategy that we talked about with the four-man line and the extra defensive back has been really the story of this first half, as we see Joe Ferragelli on the sidelines and Bob Ovilovich. Ferragelli has to be concerned at this point.
Well, the Riders obviously are going to run out the clock and see if they can't get it together in the locker room at halftime. Just 34 seconds showing on the clock. John McCorkindale carried, number 32. His gain will be, well, let's say 3 yards, make it 2nd and 7. McCorkindale, as you can see, with that leg wrap.
Well, in that area, it means he's got a hamstring injury, and if he goes down, they have Jim Mans, who's the backup running back tonight, and he would come in the ball game, and I think we're seeing him come in right now. It's obviously the coaching staff spotted John McCorkindale hobbling around.
So Jim Mans, number 26, comes in. McCorkindale, number 32, will come out. And I rather suspect that we're going to see 747, number 7, Joe Adams in the ball game.
I tell you, I think that's the best nickname in the CFL. I love that, 747. Kind of tells it all, doesn't it?
It's better than Grumpy. That was your nickname when you played.
Well, I earned that, honestly. I can tell you that.
Now you are being unkind, Pat.
That'll be enough out of you, Grampy. It is second down for Saskatchewan. The ball at their 16-yard line with just 34 seconds left to play in the second quarter. 20 after 10 back home. I know some of you may be thinking about going to bed, but why not wait till the third quarter? Because these Saskatchewan Roughriders, I'll tell you, can come back in a hurry. Albie Layden normally goes to bed about 9 o'clock, so way past his bedtime. It is 2nd and 7 for Saskatchewan. Hufnagel is dragged down from behind by John Pointer. Well, Pointer has certainly stood out on a number of occasions tonight.
We talked about his range and speed, and that time he really showed it as he ran John Hufnagel down, but really the credit should go to the secondary because they had Chris DeFrance and Ronnie Robinson totally shut down. Hufnagel had no place to go.
Third down and 6 to go.
I suspect it may be a noisy hotel tonight if the Argonauts can hang on to this victory, and I would rather suspect that JoJo Heath may come pounding on my door to remind him that I told Heath that Hufnagel would throw 4 touchdown passes.
Well, you really go out on a limb sometimes, Pat, I'll tell you.
Well, so far, the Riders scored on the first play of the game. The opening kickoff, they got a single, and they've been shut out since. Martin Cox fumbles the ball, but gets it back. And he gets into Saskatchewan territory before he's forced out at about the 50-yard line on what should be the final play of the first half. Let's wait and see if it is.
The feature that Johnny Esau has yesterday will feature Bill Simons, the Shenley Award winner with the Toronto Argonauts in '68. But at the end of the second quarter, the score is 20 for the Toronto Argonauts, 1 for Saskatchewan. And this is CTV's Friday Night Football. We'll continue with halftime in just a moment. The CFL on CTV this week will bring you this game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers versus the Edmonton Eskimos in Edmonton, and what a game that will be. Last week we had 4 key contests also. And first of all tonight, let's go to Exhibition Stadium in Toronto and watch the Argos' last-minute comeback over the Montreal Concord. Conrad Holloway moving the Argos from their 35. This 37-yard pass to Paul Pearson, a key play. But even bigger, the pass interference call against former Argo Phil Jones in the 17. And that sets up the winning touchdown, Holloway to Terry Greer. Only 31 seconds left in the game. A great pass by Holloway. Hamilton was scoring a comeback victory over Winnipeg. Tommy Clements in his finest game of the season. Ron Johnson, his 3rd touchdown pass of the game. 2:20 into the 4th quarter. And then the winning play. Speedy Gerald Best stepping in front of Joe Poplawski. Perfect timing and going 45 yards for the touchdown. Saskatchewan scored 15 unanswered points in the 4th quarter as they defeated Calgary. The rookie quarterback Joe Adams to Canadian John McCorkindale, 13 yards, moving them within 2 points of Calgary. But the winner, this 16-yard run by Regina Rams product Greg Feger for his 2nd touchdown of the game, and the Riders' first victory of the season. But now, the game of the week, in fact of the season, at Empire Stadium, Vancouver. BC scoring the spectacular victory. The sensational rookie Mervyn Fernandez getting out of a tackle and going 75 yards in this punt return in the 4th quarter. What a run! And look at the blocking that he gets to as BC takes the lead 30-23. Then the cruncher comes with 52 seconds remaining. Former UBC star Kevin Konar intercepting the Warren Moon pass, 35 yards, the final touchdown, leaving BC as the CFL's only undefeated team. And so, from the game action you've just seen, we get the Rothman CFL Stars of the Week. There are 2 BC Lions, and there could have been 3. Mervyn Fernandez, of course, the offensive star. He had 7 receptions, including this 65-yarder. The defensive star was number 31, Kevin Konar. The interception, and he goes for the touchdown, along with strong tackling and blocking. And then it was Hamilton's Henry Waszczuk as the Rossman's lineman of the week, as he handled Winnipeg defensive tackle John Helton, and he impressed the people who make the decision. Those are the Rossman CFL Stars of the Week. And then a big victory yesterday. Ottawa over Montreal. Ricky Barton recovering Overstreet's fumble. 33 yards for the touchdown. Coach George Brancato called this the big play. He said after that, we just got hotter and hotter. And did they ever, as they went for the 55-5 win over the Montreal Concorde. These are the games coming up this weekend in the Canadian Football League. Calgary playing in Hamilton. And, of course, Winnipeg will be playing in Edmonton. This is CTV's Friday Night Football, and we'll continue with our halftime in a moment.
Hey, you! Don't watch that! Watch this!
At last, video music in stereo, 24 hours a day, on cable, MTV, music television. You'll never look at music the same way again. To get MTV, call your local cable company.
Sunday, see vintage highlights of the best of baseball of yesteryear when ESPN takes you out to the old ball game.
Well, good evening again, everyone. I'm Tom Mees in the ESPN Sports Center, and I assure you we will be returning to Regina, Saskatchewan in just a few moments for the second half of play between the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are down on the mat, you might say, to the Toronto Argonauts at halftime. The Argos leading this game by a score of 20-1. Also, tomorrow night on ESPN at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time, we'll have another live Canadian Football League game for you when the Hamilton Tiger Cats host the Calgary Stampeders. But really, the main issue for the folks north of the border in Ontario province may not be the game itself, but what they can do at the game. For you see, the Ontario province legislature recently in fact, within the last 24 hours, passed a bill which allows beer to be sold at athletic contests throughout the province. The first test of that is going on tonight in Toronto, where the Blue Jays are taking on the Detroit Tigers. The second test will be going on tomorrow night in Hamilton at Ivor Wynne Stadium, when the Tiger Cats host the Calgary Stampeders, and you'll be able to see that game live at 7 Eastern time right here on ESPN. Now, the urgent last-minute preparations today enabled the Blue Jays to get the jump on Hamilton. See, Toronto and Hamilton don't like each other. They're two cities on the lake, and they like to play one-upsmanship all the time, so they're selling beer tonight in Toronto. I just thought you'd like to know that. New York Cosmos midfielder defender Ricky Davis will play in the August 7th FIFA World All-Star Soccer game at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Davis, originally selected as an alternate, is the only native-born American to be playing with some of the best names in the world, including many, many players who played in the recently completed World Cup in Spain. So congratulations to a native-born American, Ricky Davis, who will be playing with the world's best August 7th at the Meadowlands. Now we're set to go back to Regina, Saskatchewan for the second half of tonight's game. Toronto leads Saskatchewan 20-1.
More to John Hancock than life insurance.
In my business, creating something new isn't enough. It has to be what people want. That's why the John Hancock companies constantly develop new financial services that people like me really need. Everything from employee benefits programs to mutual funds, even auto and home reinsurance. When John Hancock offers something new, there's a future in it.
John Hancock. We can help you here and now, not just hereafter.
It's Cheech and Chong.
Get out of my door!
And Cheech and Chong.
You have killed the cat.
In a high-flying comedy. In search of truth.
I feel like we're wearing dresses, man.
Beauty.
Hey, baby, how's it going?
And a piece of the action.
We have a very special surprise planned for you.
Things are tough all over. Rated R. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Veteran nose guard Mike Samples. Mike, you did not have a big first half. I mean the club. Now, what happened in the dressing room?
Hey, we just said, look, guys, don't try and be a hero. Do your job. Keep your composure. Things are going to happen. They didn't do much offensive in the first half, but they scored a lot of points. So, fortunately, we'll go out and do our job and don't have any mistakes. And offense move the ball, and we'll get some points and win the ball game.
So you're not worried?
Oh, we were worried, but we're going to come after him.
All right, Mike Samples, thank you. Okay, Pat.
What a class act he's been over the years, too. Mike Samples, the former Hamilton Ticat, who was really rejuvenated when he came out here to Saskatchewan. As Denham Andrusician gets this second half underway, his kickoff goes to number 29, Sam McDermott. McDermott gets to the 20-yard line and no further. Again, good coverage by the Argos, and let's see who comes out to start. The third quarter. It will be 7:47 himself, Joe Adams, the starting quarterback, as Lee Pedersen suggested they would have to do that to get back in this game. Let's see now what the rookie can do.
You know, Pat, I think Mike Samples made a very interesting point there in that interview with Bill Stevenson when he said that each guy just has to go out and do his own particular job and not try and do it all. And that's the key if they're going to get back in this football game. Just strict execution by each individual player.
Let's see if the Tennessee State grad, who's a rookie with the Riders, Joe Adams, can get them moving. He throws. The pass is made by number 19 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Emmanuel Tolbert. The stop was made by Don Rose, number 6.
I'll tell you this, 747 is not going to hold anything back as he hits Emmanuel Tolbert on the outside and on the sidelines, and really an excellent delivery.
The gain was about 8 yards, so make it 2nd and 2. Saskatchewan the ball at their 28-yard line. If you've just joined us, surprise, surprise, Toronto is out in front of Saskatchewan 20-1. We're just underway here in the second half. Adams with the pass to Greg Figger. And Figger will have the first down. He's out over the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Don Rose tripped him up at that point, but Figger gets Saskatchewan a first down to open this second half.
Well, isolating on Greg Figger, he gets some good blocking from Jim Mans in front of him, and also number 65, Neil Quilter, as he picks up that first down, and the 747's got him moving.
Well, they needed that first down. They needed Adams to come in and get something going. They did not look very effective offensively in that first half. The draw to Mans. And Mans has another Saskatchewan first down. He's out over the 45 to about the 46-yard line.
Well, good play selection by the rookie quarterback as he runs the draw play. An excellent blocking up front by number 44, Roger Aldag, and the center, Bob Foley. You see the rookie Jim Mans getting good opening.
Jim Mans, as Lee pointed out, is a rookie, so where do you think he came from? The Saskatoon Hilltops, of course. That's where all the Rider kids come from, the junior clubs in this area. Tolbert makes the catch again. He's out over the 50 to about the 52, so he'll have a gain of about 6 yards. Again, Don Rose made the stop.
Well, junior football very big in Western Canada. The Rough Riders have been very fortunate to have a number of players over the years from the Saskatoon Hilltops and the local Regina Rams.
Gain was 6 yards. It is 2nd and 4. The ball is at the 52-yard line. Tolbert has caught 6 tonight for 57 yards. There's movement by that Toronto defensive line, but I don't see a flag. As Tolbert again makes the catch, and he is now into Toronto territory at the 53-yard line. Another Saskatchewan first down. I felt that Rick Moore jumped the gun a little bit, but no flags came down, and the Riders don't care because they have the first down.
Well, I like Joe Adams' style right here. He just keeps going back to that out pattern, and he's trying to tell that Argonaut defense, you know, we're going to keep throwing this until you stop it. And an old friend of mine, Ron Lancaster, was very successful with that type of philosophy when he was quarterback.
Sure. I mean, if you can't get the 40-yard gain, why not take 7 catches at 7 yards apiece, and now you got 49. Adams throws. He whipped it in there. Tolbert could not hang on. There was good coverage again by Rose and also by number 26, Steve Ackroyd.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts starting this second half with that same defensive alignment. The front four, as we see Bob Abilovich on the phones up to his coaches in the press box. But staying with that...
Lots of credit because, boy, he deserves it. Well, he's molding this club.
Certainly got this team ready to play tonight.
I mentioned before that entire coaching staff, very hard-working group. You've got to be to work for Abilovich because he works hard himself. It is 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Adams on the quarterback draw. And he'll be very close to another first down above the 42-yard line. I do not believe that Joe Adams ever had any intention of doing anything but run the ball.
Absolutely right. Design play, the quarterback draw, and he put an unbelievable move on number 64, Leon Lescavich. It looks as though they've picked up the first down. Toronto asking for a measurement.
Well, Adams has come out and marched for how many first downs, Bob Layden? 4 first downs consecutively. And he's got another one right here. So it'll be first down. Saskatchewan the ball at the 42-yard line of the Argos.
Well, as we mentioned, the design play, the quarterback draw, and he follows the blocking of his offensive lineman. But the great move, as we see there on Leon Lescavich, and he does pick up that first down.
3 out of 4 in passing is Joe Adams to this point since taking over from John Hufnagel. The blitz was well picked up. The ball is thrown in behind Chris DeFrance. Actually, Adams didn't have an opportunity to sit back there and set up. He had to deliver the ball quickly, and DeFrance was not ready.
Well, Zach Henderson, who played an excellent game in the secondary for the Argonauts, came in on the safety blitz, and he put the pressure on Adams, forcing him to throw the ball before he was really ready to. And as a result, the pass incomplete as we see Fred Nordgren on the ground. Fred Dunbar out to assist him.
The man they call Cannon, Freddie Dunbar, the trainer of the Toronto Argonauts. Freddie Nordgren, not a particularly big fella, 5'11", 235 pounds. He's out of Portland State. But the coaching staff really thinks he's done an outstanding job on that nose guard spot. He plays right over the center, and of course, he's the guy that pretty well controls that line of scrimmage defensively from a Toronto viewpoint.
Hey, Pat, I don't like the looks of this. When you're hobbling that gingerly, you have to think of possibly a knee injury.
Mouse Davis, who is the offensive coordinator for the Argos, is a former head coach at Portland State, so he was very familiar with Fred Nordgren's abilities. As Joe Adams has a fast chat with his head coach, Joe Ferragelli. We're just underway here in the third quarter. 10 minutes, 57 seconds left to play. It is still Toronto 20, Saskatchewan 1, as Nordgren comes out the field.
Time whistled in 2nd and 10.
Big play now for the Riders. They want to strike first here in this third quarter. See if they can't narrow the gap a little bit and then build some momentum. Adams going deep, and the pass is overthrown. He was looking for Emmanuel Tolbert. Rose played him well.
Well, excellent coverage, trying to hit the post pattern for the big score, but Don Rose, as you mentioned, step to step, as we see Fred Nordgren on the sideline. They're examining that knee.
Giving a big round of applause to Joe Adams as he comes off the field. Rider fans trying to encourage the rookie. The field goal unit is out on the field right now. You see Adams chatting things over with Joe Ferragelli, who is probably talking about that last pass to Tolbert that he just overthrew.
3rd and 10.
Well, Ferragelli very high on Joe Adams when we talked to him yesterday. And he wants to bring the quarterback along as slowly as possible, but with Hufnagel having such a bad first half, he had no choice but to make a change.
Ridgway's field goal is wide. And Zach Henderson is going to concede a single point, so the Riders get back on the scoreboard. They did with the opening play of the game, and now they get back on. The score is Toronto 20, Saskatchewan 2. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the number that takes you places you might never go, shows you things you might never see, brings you face to face with beauty. This is the number that brings you smell, that takes you places you might never go, shows you things you might never see, brings you face to face with beauty. This is the number that brings you Smithsonian Magazine. This is the number that shows you the lives we led, the lives we lead, the life around us. This is the number that brings you Smithsonian Magazine. Call this toll-free number for your year's subscription to Smithsonian. 12 monthly issues for $17. What's more, you'll automatically become an associate member of the Smithsonian Institution, eligible for travel benefits and book and gift discounts. Nature, art, science, history, our whole world. There's no other magazine like Smithsonian.
This is the number that brings you 12 monthly issues of Smithsonian Magazine for only $17. 800-228-1500. That's 800-228-1500. Phone now, toll free. A whole world is waiting for you.
The point of the last scrimmage was the 42-yard line, which is where Toronto will now take over after the missed field goal try by Dave Ridgway. It is Toronto 20, Saskatchewan 2. The Riders controlled the ball for 4 minutes, 44 seconds, but only managed that single point. Holloway throws. Martin Cox has the reception. He beats Steve Dennis, and he will score the touchdown for the Toronto Argonauts. It was the missed tackle by Steve Dennis. It very nearly happened in the second quarter. It did happen on that occasion. 68 yards. The touchdown strike. Conrad Holloway to Martin Cox. And we've got an injured Toronto Argonaut. It is Cedric Mitter back at the 42-yard line.
I'll tell you, Martin Cox, over his career, he's been a big play man, and no bigger play than that as he took a quick post pass from Conrad Holloway. And as Pat mentioned, he gets around Steve Dennis. Number 24, Marshall Hamilton, has a shot there, but he can't get him. And Cox all the way down for the touchdown.
You know, if there is any kind of a knock on Martin Cox, it's that he does not possess blinding speed, but he looked very fast on that occasion. He saw the daylight and sprinted right to it. Well, this crowd can't believe it. I have to be honest with you, I can't either. I didn't think that the Argos stood much of a chance coming in here to Taylor Field, but they've made believers out of me.
I'll tell you, they've looked very impressive tonight, and I think the defense has to be given so much of the credit. They stopped Joe Adams right off the bat there and got good field position from the missed field goal. And I guess that's the easiest way to keep cool on a warm night.
Wish I had one myself. The point after now by Zenon Andrusician. Well, many of us were suggesting a blowout, but we thought that Saskatchewan would be blowing Toronto out. That is not the case. It is 27-2 in favor of the Argonauts. Phil, what's happening?
Here's the fellow that is not supposed to have great speed, Martin Cox. Martin, you showed them your heels.
Well, who told you that?
Well, I was just listening to Pat up there. He said the fellow doesn't have blinding speed. Look at him go.
Well, it was just a little hitch, and I really, when you got the dogs after you, you tend to really run fast. So that's all I can say, really.
In other words, when they're there, you've got the speed.
That's right. And I want to say hello to Fort Lauderdale.
All right. Now tell us, you said that was just a little hitch. You got in the open, and it was just from then on a foot race, was it?
Yeah, that's it. Just broke. The ball led me inside, which was right where it needed to be. And once I got past the corner, then it was just get on your horses, I guess.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin Cox.
All right, we're set for the kickoff. Zenon Andrusician to perform the duties for Toronto. He sends it deep. And this is Billy McBride, 5 yards in the end zone. And he only gets to about the 16 or 17-yard line. When you sit back tonight and you say, well, where were the Argonauts impressive? You can start with their special teams. They have been very effective, covering both punts and kickoffs. Down quickly to make the stop on that occasion was Duncan McKinley.
Well, when you get that extra effort on those special teams and really contain the opposition, it gives the whole ball club a lift. And we certainly can see the result of Toronto's excellent play tonight on those teams.
If the Argos can hang on and win this ball game, it'll certainly give them some momentum going home to play the Edmonton Eskimos next week, and that should be a big attraction in Toronto. First down, Saskatchewan from their 16-yard line. Adams throws, Colbert makes the catch, and then is ruled out of bounds at the 25-yard line, so he'll be short by about 3 yards of the first down.
Well, that's the type of play that the Argonaut secondary is going to give up all in this second half, because they're sitting back deep in that zone and trying to prevent the big play to get Saskatchewan back in the ball game, and I think it's excellent defensive strategy by the secondary coach, Dennis Meyer.
Tony Antonovich is on the bench here for the Argos, the offensive guard. He's got some back spasms, and probably his backup will have to go in. Now, how long he'll be out will remain to be seen. But as you know, the back spasms can be quite painful.
We've got 9 minutes and 26 seconds left to play in this third quarter. It is Toronto 27, Saskatchewan 2.
You realize, Pat, if Toronto hangs on to win this ball game, they'll take over sole possession of first place in the Eastern Conference.
Pending the outcome of tomorrow night's game in Hamilton, where the Stampeders will play the Ticats. Greg Fieger gets to the 25, no further. They'll be short of the first down by a couple of yards. Well, now trailing 27-2. The fans were hoping that they could put a drive together. That is not the case. And so Ken Clark and the punting unit comes out onto the field. Zach Henderson playing himself quite a ball game. You're going to have to look at him when you're looking at the Carling defensive game star.
Well, I'd have to say right now he'd be the leading candidate for the Carling defensive star, as you mentioned. And, of course, the Panasonic play of the game really has to be, so far, Mike Hamillock's fumble recovery early in the first quarter.
We've got a lot of time left to play, though. 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in this third quarter. Ken Clark doesn't get a particularly good kick away. It went off the side of his foot. Martin Cox allows it to bounce out of bounds at the Toronto 53-yard line. With the Argos out in front, 27-2. We'll be back in just a moment.
For natural light, natural light.
When the feast runs deep, fresh and flavorful, what's more natural than Natural Light beer? Ah, Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch. The beer with a taste for food. Just naturally right with all those good things from the sea you love to eat. So when you've really put something into a meal...
What's more natural than Natural Light?
Thinking about a new car? Well, here's some good news from your favorite Buick dealers. We're offering 12.5% lease finance rate when you lease a new Buick. And if you've been waiting for the perfect time to buy your new Buick, here's more good news. For a limited time, Buick Motor Division is offering its dealers up to $400 in incentives on any new Skyhawks or Skylarks you choose. Special lease financing, closeout prices, and up to $400 in incentives on Skyhawks and Skylarks tomorrow at your favorite Buick dealer.
The Argos haven't had very much success against the Riders over the years, but they're having lots of it tonight, leading 27-2. A first down at their 53-yard line. Cedric Minter goes in motion. And the toss goes to number 34, Bob Bronk. Bronk crosses midfield and gets to about the 54-yard line. He was upended by linebacker Campbell Hackney. Gain was, let's say, 2 yards, make it 2nd and 8. The ball at the 54-yard line of the Riders. Well, they're shocked. There's no question about it. But you know what? Honestly, at no time did they look like they were ready for this ball game. Defensively, they played well. But offensively, even these two little guys are getting fed up with them. Holloway throws, looking for Greer on the sideline, but the pass is overthrown. And so on third down, Zenon Andrusishin in the punting unit comes out onto the field. And if the Riders are going to make a fist of this thing, they're going to have to start pretty soon. We're down to 7 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in this third quarter.
You know, Pat, a key for the Argonaut offense has to be the field position that they've enjoyed throughout this game. I can't remember them really starting anywhere inside their own 20-yard line or so.
Fran McDermott is back with Stuart Fraser, number 11, to receive this punt. This is Fraser from his 13. And he goes down at the 20. So again, the Riders are going to start deep in a hole.
I'd like to remind everybody across the country, Pat, that the 1982 CFL record manual is complete with all the statistics, the records, and information about the CFL, and it's available by simply forwarding $2 to the CFL office, 11 King Street West, Suite 1800 in Toronto. That's $2 to the CFL office, 11 King Street West, Suite 1800 in Toronto. And all you have to do is ask Bobby Layton. He's got that CFL record manual, and that's why Pat and Leaf are so informed throughout the ball game.
Well,
right, Pat?
The fans aren't informed on who made that tackle because you interrupted me when I said I was going to say that Mike Hamillock was quickly downfield.
I'm sorry.
All right. First down, Saskatchewan from their 20. The pass is caught by Joey Walters. What a hit by Zach Henderson. Joey's got to be hurting. I don't care what anybody says. He doesn't want to show it. But Zach really put a lick on him.
Joey Walters, one of the toughest receivers in the league, and he really takes a lick from Zach Henderson. Probably the third or fourth good hit that Zach Henderson's had this evening, but I don't know of a better receiver at hanging onto the football in traffic than Joey Walters.
He got the first down after the 36-yard line, a gain of 16 yards with 6 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Argos lead it by 25 points. Pass from center was fumbled by Joe Adams. The Argos, Steve Ackroyd picks it up, and he's in the end zone for another touchdown. Well, the Argo bounce is very evident here tonight. It's been absent for years and years, but boy, are the Argos making up for it.
Pat, you couldn't have said it any better about the Argo bounce, and Steve Ackroyd getting a chance to play tonight because of that 6 defensive back look that they're giving the Riders. Alert, and let's see how that ball comes loose. I can't believe the way it just popped out of there, but nevertheless, Ackroyd Johnny on the spot, and he picks it up, and nobody's going to catch him as he's into the end zone with certainly his first touchdown of this season.
You just never know, do you, about football, really, though. I mean, the Ottawa Roughriders last year were underdogs by 22 or 23 points to the Edmonton Eskimos. They came within a whisker of pulling off a major upset. I have not spoken to a person today, other than the ball players and the coaching staff of the Argos, who thought they had a hope in this ball game, and yet it's turned into a rout in favor of Toronto.
Well, you have to think that this is what really makes the CFL so exciting now that some of the Eastern clubs are performing a little better. Hamilton getting it rolling last week with a win over Winnipeg as we go down to Bill Stevenson.
All right, and Steve Ackroyd. Steve, you've had quite a ball game. You came up in the first half with a big interception. Now you come up and you grab that Argo fumble and go for the touchdown.
Well, I guess I happen to be in the right place at the right time. I'm glad the bounce is going towards us. You know, the game's still not over, but the offense is starting to click, and defense is, excuse my breath, is starting to come around, so hopefully we'll come out a winner today.
Well, when we take a look at those Panasonic plays as they do upstairs, Leaf and Pat are certainly going to have to look at your two big plays. Now, they're looking at a player that is injured for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'll let you get your breath just a little bit here, but I wanted to ask you, too, because there is so much confidence on this club, and obviously it's because you lead and have the big margin and got it early because you made the breaks. But this seems to me to be the kind of thing a young club such as the Argos need.
Yeah, we're playing an aggressive game, and we hustle the ball, and I think that's what Coach Abilif is trying to institute into the team. And I think that we're doing a good job, and we just have to play the 60 minutes and hopefully come out a winner.
Thank you very much, Steve Ackroyd. Congratulations.
Point after by Andrew Session is good. The Argos are out in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 34-2. We'll be back in just a moment.
Be the best advice a golfer ever had. The tips, the turns, the little secrets that come from the pros on putting, chipping, scoring better. And it's all right here in this special free gift from Golf Magazine. Write this number down, 1-800-228-2080, and take a look at what you'll get.
You get me, Ken Venturi, and I'll show you how to hit your pitch shot soft.
And me, Johnny Miller, I'll show you 8 ways to chip strokes off your score.
And me, Ben Crenshaw, I'll show you my 5 secrets to great putting.
It's the winning ways of golf's greatest players. A free 40-page guide, and it's all right out of golf. The Better Golf Magazine. Call today, 1-800-228-2080. You get 12 issues for just $9.97. That's more than 36% off the cover price. Plus shortcuts to the short game free with your paid subscription.
Now, that's the best advice a golfer can get.
Call today, 1-800-228-2080 for Golf Magazine.
Well, let's give him all the credit in the world, too. Bob Obilovich, the rookie head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. He may not be smiling, but I can tell you he's pleased inside. As Obi said, I want full effort and I want aggressive football. Those are the 2 things I demand. And if the guys who are here aren't willing to give me those 2 things, they'll be gone. Well, I think you can see the disposition of this Toronto team. They've been aggressive. And all you've got to do is look at the special teams, as I've mentioned time and time again. It is Toronto 34, Saskatchewan 2, as Don Andrew Session kicks it off to Billy McBride at his 7-yard line. Excuse me, that is number 29, Van McDermott, not McBride. Just a brilliant return by McDermott. Finally forced out by Zach Henderson, but he's all the way down to the Toronto 40-yard line. 63 yards to return.
Wow, what an effort by number 29, Fran McDermott. Gets some good lead blocking from Billy McBride, Marshall Hamilton. And he's off and running, and the only man that has a chance to stop him is Zach Henderson as he finally forced him out of bounds. But I don't know, 32 points is a lot to come back from, but we'll have to wait and see if 7:47 can get them rolling.
It is first down, Saskatchewan, just inside the Toronto 40-yard line. Adams throws. Colbert makes the catch at the 30-yard line. And it is spotted right on the 30. He'll be about a foot short of the first down. Don Rose, the cornerback on that side, making the tackle.
We get a chance to see isolation on number 19, Emmanuel Tolbert, just running that simple out pattern, and he certainly caught a number of those this evening. And getting back to that philosophy of the Argonauts at this point, with a 32-point lead, they'll give up that type of play. And as we see the measurement here, it looks like they might be a little short.
Tolbert has caught 9 passes tonight, and normally when a receiver is having a good night like that, you would think the offense would be rolling along pretty well, but the truth is, Saskatchewan has not done so. The Argos have played very well defensively, and to be fair to the Riders, their defense has played well too. Most of the points have come from turnovers.
Well, what do you think, Pat? A little play-action pass, maybe, or?
No, I think they're just going to try and get the first down. Well, let's face it, they've got to get organized here. Let's not get fancy.
Yeah, really, at this point in the game, I don't think they'd fool too many people with that.
Straight ahead for Joe Adams, and he'll have the first down. Inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line. And now, of course, time. Really an enemy of the Riders. Lots left. 5 minutes left to play in this third quarter, but they've got to score on virtually every possession from here on. See what Adams can do. It gets tougher now, of course, the closer you get to the goal line. You can move the ball from one end of the field to the other, but it means nothing if you don't get it into the end zone. Colbert again makes the catch at about the 19.5-yard line. He'll be short of the first down by a full yard. Don Rose makes the tackle.
Well, Joe Adams back to pass once again, looking for Emmanuel Tolbert, his favorite receiver so far this evening, and running a simple hook. Good coverage by Don Rose, and as Pat mentioned, they did come up a little short.
So it's second and about a yard and a half to go for the first down. Last time they needed this much, the quarterback kept it. This time he's going to throw, looking for Ron Robinson, but the pass is incomplete. Well, they've got to go for the touchdown, never mind the field goal. They trail by 32 points. 7 out of 10 in passing is Joe Adams for 61 yards.
Pat, I was talking to Martin Cox earlier, and he came over to me a moment ago. He says, you know what? He says, I forgot to say hello to my wife. He says, we're expecting a baby. He says, either tonight or tomorrow, and I want to send along all my life, or love rather, to my wife. So there's Martin saying, I'm sorry, honey, I forgot all about it in the heat of the moment.
Well, you've certainly rectified that situation. The Riders are going to be outside. Joey Walters was 2 or 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Greg Fager and Zach Henderson just had a few words. Nothing serious developing there.
What a costly mistake that's going to be, because third and a yard and a half, and to have your player, Joey Walters, jump offside, really unforgivable at this stage.
Procedure number 17, Saskatchewan, third down.
Okay, it's 3rd and 7 now. Do you go for the field goal? I mean, I'd want some points.
No, there's no way you go for the field goal at this point. You're down 32 points, 3 minutes left, 3 minutes 43 seconds in the third quarter. There's no doubt you have to go for the first down.
Well, that's what they're going to do. Adams throws over the middle, and will he have the first down? No. Chris DeFrance Harrison, number 13, and Zach Henderson, 31, were there to make the hit.
Well, what a big catch that was. Christopher France hanging onto the football in traffic and picking up the first down. And I really think at this point, if he hadn't come up with that big play, it could have been all over for the Roughriders. But a good throw and great catch. Once again, Zach Henderson involved in the tackle, and he's been everywhere tonight.
The ball is at the 18-yard line of the Argos. First down, Saskatchewan. Adams throws, no good. Looking for Joey Walters at about the 14-yard line. Coverage for Toronto by Leo Gray, the newcomer.
Leo Gray inserted into the lineup tonight with the knee injury to Sam Johnson, who is now on the reserve list. But Leo Gray making a good play there on Joey Walters.
Zach Henderson, whom we've mentioned so often tonight, after 3 games had 11.5 tackles for the Argos, speaking defensively. He also had 1 interception. He grabbed another interception here tonight, so Henderson's having himself a big ball game. So are the Argos. Big play right now for Saskatchewan. Second down, 10 yards to go. Adams swings it out to Krieger. He has no place to go. Jeff Gabrielson, number 72. Zach Henderson, number 31. And let's see who's at the bottom of the pile. Number 76, Rick Moore, all there to make the stop. Ball is at the 17-yard line, so he only gained about a yard.
Well, Fieger having a little trouble hanging on to that football with that broken finger, but great defense by the Argonauts. They shut that play down totally.
Well, and it kind of tells you the story of this game, too. Swarming tackles by the Argos now. Third down. Riders are going for it. They have to. Adams throws. Joey Walters has it for the touchdown. Boy, he beat the coverage there. He was wide open.
Well, you can see the reaction by these fans at Taylor Field as Joey Walters possibly gets the Roughriders back into the football game. And a good throw by quarterback Joe Adams as Joey Walters working on number 28, Leo Gray, who we just mentioned, inserted in the lineup because of the injury to Sam Johnson. But Joey Walters puts an excellent move, running the quarter pattern, the ball delivered on the money, and the Roughriders have their first major of the ball game.
18 yards, and the Riders will go for 2. It is 34 to wait. They will go for the 2-point conversion. The pass is intercepted. It means nothing, of course. It simply means that there will be no 2-point conversion for Saskatchewan on that occasion.
Well, we get a chance to see Joey Walters on isolation. Great move on Leo Gray. Turns him completely around. And perfect execution by the pass receiver. And excellent shot by our isolation director, Nick Volpe.
All right, do you go for the short kickoff now, or do you drill it deep and try to hand him in there?
I think at this point, with still time remaining in the third quarter, I would kick it deep. Some good defense and possibly a turnover. I mean, the game's not out of reach yet.
Well, these are amazing fans. They're tremendous fans. They really are what every team would hope to have. Whether you're behind or not, they're in the ball game. They're cheering you on. Sure, they want the team to win, but they don't get down on the club just because they do fall behind. And let's face it, it's going to take a minor miracle for the Riders to win this one.
That's certainly true about the fans. You know, a couple of years ago when they were 2-14, they still had sellout crowds.
All right, Kirkley starts from the goal line. And the Riders contain him inside the 20 at about the 17. Vince Goldsmith, who hasn't been as outstanding as we have seen him on many occasions, was downfield to make the tackle.
Vince Goldsmith making a transition from linebacker to defensive end where they felt they could best use his pass rushing abilities. As we see defensive end Rick Moore on the sideline.
Well, down the row, Terry Smith from our Calgary affiliate, CFCN, and also from CKCK here in Regina. We want to thank all you fellas. More than 30 of you are bringing the game to the fans across the country. Argos come out throwing despite the fact they lead 34-8 with 1:06 showing on the clock. And they pick up about 8 yards. I missed it. Was it Terry Greer that made the catch?
Terry Greer made the catch, and you have to be impressed with the play selection of Conrad Holloway. Even though he has a lead at this point, he's not holding back, and he knows he's got to keep that ball and keep it away from Saskatchewan offense. So he's going to his passing game, which is their bread and butter.
2nd and 2. The toss is to Cedric Mitter, and look out. Well, the Argos can do no wrong. Cedric Mitter is all the way inside the Saskatchewan 15-yard line after a 72-yard run. Finally, Marcellus Green was able to force him out.
I think this play speaks for itself, and we'll let you just watch the great blocking of that offensive line. And it's a foot race with Cedric Mitter.
First down, 12-yard line.
If you'll notice, Terry Greer will come into your picture and shows you the hustle that he displayed as he was downfield to make the block. Now watch, he'll make a block, or attempt to make a block on Marcellus Green. And this is Bob Bronk in for the major score. That, my friends, is game, set, and match, I would suspect. On the final play of the third quarter, Bob Bronk carries it in for the major.
Well,
his first pro touchdown.
Give the Toronto Argonaut offense full marks for that drive, because 2 outstanding running plays. I just mentioned they were going to their bread and butter on the passing plays, but Holloway changes up, and great blocking on that right side by Roland Mangold, and John Malinowski creates a great hole for Bob Bronk, and he's into the end zone with the touchdown. And if the convert is good, Toronto will move ahead 41-8.
You want to do the play-by-play now? The convert is good, and it is. Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 8 at the end of the third quarter. We'll be back with the fourth quarter in just a moment. Well, if you're just joined us, you won't believe the score. It's Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 8, as the Argos are kicking off once again. This is Fran McDermott. McDermott is across the 25 to about the 28. And that's where the Riders will begin. Incidentally, that 72-yard run by Cedric Mitter is the longest from the line of scrimmage in the CFL this year. And there's Bob Bronk, his very first professional touchdown with Coach Bob Halsick, the offensive line coach. Bronk from Queens University is a kid that I just think is going to be a big, big star in this league. When you consider the upper body strength that he has, I mean, he really is the epitome of what I think a fullback should be. A real tough guy. First down, Adams looks, throws, Colbert makes, Ron Robinson, number 9, not 19, makes the catch at about the 38-yard line. Let's go to Bill.
Here's the man you were talking about, Cedric Mitter. Cedric, turn around and show us a smile from a 71-yard run, which is the longest from scrimmage this season in CFL.
Well, I'll tell you, it was just a basic off, a sweep play to the left side, and off in the line did a beautiful job of blocking. And yeah, I wish I would have gotten the end zone. That's a long way to run and not get in the end zone.
Everything's working right for the Argos. You couldn't ask for much more.
It is tonight. We hope to get a couple more scores in this last quarter and finish off strong. Thank you. Okay.
Adams got a little pressure, but was able to get the pass away to Joey Walters. And Walters makes the reception for the first down at the 54-yard line. The hit made by Zach Henderson.
Well, the Rough Rider offense not quitting as Joey Walters again in traffic. We mentioned earlier he's probably one of the best in the league at catching the ball in the crowd. And once again, Zach Henderson in on the hit. Boy, he's been everywhere. What a game he's played.
Joey's going to have that number 31 embedded on his skin, I'll tell you that, because Zach has really whacked him a couple of times. It is first down, Saskatchewan, the ball at their 54-yard line. Adams going for the bundle here. And it is incomplete. There's Emmanuel Tolbert down the touchline, but he couldn't shake the coverage. Well, I can't believe that time of possession. It was almost 12 minutes to 3 minutes in favor of the Argonauts in that third quarter.
Well, it certainly tells the story, but if you notice, Saskatchewan with 15 first downs as opposed to Toronto with 9. If you told someone the score was 41-8 and Toronto only had 9 first downs, I don't think you'd believe them.
It is second down. for Saskatchewan. The ball at their 54-yard line. Adams sits in there very coolly, selects his receiver, Joey Walters, and then puts it right on the mark, down to the 30-yard line. Didn't he look great on that particular setup? He just sat back confidently.
Very impressive throw by the quarterback, Joe Adams, and isolating on Joey Walters here. He just takes it straight downfield, running a deep in pattern, and that's, I tell you, a very impressive throw. The ball right on the money once again. Here he comes, 31.
12 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in the ball game. It is Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 8. Adams has been good on 13 of 20 passes for a total of 137 yards. And, of course, the touchdown to Joey Walters.
Flag thrown.
Time count violation assessed against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And 747 is not too happy about that.
Well, I really don't know what the discussion was about. It looked like that maybe they weren't happy with the football that was put into play, but...
Thrown in error.
Well, Adams must be a pretty persuasive guy, because referee Jim Hopeross, as you look at Emmanuel Tolbert getting some of those cramps rubbed out of his legs, has decided that there isn't going to be a time count violation. He certainly did give it the signal for that, but Adams has convinced him that he didn't do it for some reason or other. First down, Ron Robinson. And Robinson is inside the 20 at about the 19-yard line. He'll be very close to another first down. Stop was made by JoJo Heath, who tripped him up.
Well, running the quick screen to the wide receiver, Ronnie Robinson. And I'll tell you, JoJo Heath made a super play, because if he doesn't make the tackle there, Robinson scores easily. He slipped around the blocker, number 44, Roger Aldag, who slipped out to set up that screen blocking. And JoJo Heath, as I said, just slipped around and made an excellent defensive play.
And close enough for a measurement. Well, I don't mind confessing, I'm flabbergasted at the result of this ball game.
Well, we'd hope for a close game if we get a chance to see Ronnie Robinson. Watch the Roger Alday coming out, but JoJo Heath slips underneath him and really makes a great play. If he doesn't stop him, as I said, he scores easily.
It was a first down for the Riders. They have the ball just inside the Toronto 20-yard line. Riders need touchdowns, lots of them. Adams on the quarterback draw. And he's into the end zone for the major score. Well, the Riders fans are really taking this kid to their hearts. Understandably, he's an exciting one. Looks like he's going to be a good one.
Well, he's played very well, getting a chance to play in his second half, running the quarterback draw play. And if you watch, the left guard, again, number 44, Roger Aldag, just throws an excellent block about the 5-yard line to put Adams into the end zone.
That was an 82-yard march directed by quarterback Joe Adams. They'll go for 2 again. Makes the score at this moment, Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 14. Adams throws, no good. Pass intended for Ron Robinson. JoJo Heath defending. Let's take a look at it one more time.
All right, Pat, the quarterback draw with Joe Adams. He ran it once earlier in the third quarter, this time with great success. Good blocking from that offensive line. As I mentioned, a great block by Roger Aldag, and Joe Adams into the end zone for the touchdown.
And that makes the score, Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 14. We'll be back in just a moment. Going on the sidelines as the Riders prepare to kick off, and they go deep. Argos didn't think they would. Ball bounces into the end zone. Cedric Minter is going to concede a single point, and does right now. So that makes it 41 to 15. But again, that was a good play by Minter. What is the percentage of running the ball out?
Well, no percentage at all, and I think Bob Obilovich did a very smart thing, putting his, what they call hands team in there, anticipating a short kick by Dave Ridgway, but he kicked it deep, and absolutely correct. A smart play to give up that single point.
There's another Bill Stevenson working on our telecast here tonight. Bill Stevenson from CKCK Regina is up in the booth helping me as the spotter, and I want to thank him very much. Thank you, Willie. First down, Toronto at the 35-yard line. Holloway is still in there. Throws. Pearson makes the catch, drops the ball, then has it bounce back into his hands. And what are they going to call it? They're going to call it a completed pass and a fumble recovery by Pearson. He was hit by Marshall Hamilton. But when things go right, typical example right there.
The old Argo bounce, and really a good catch by Paul Pearson, and also an excellent hit by number 24, Marshall Hamilton, who's getting a chance to play at that safety position due to the ankle injury to Ken McEachran.
First down, Toronto. The ball at the Saskatchewan 54. This is Bob Bronk. He has nowhere to go. And he's dropped back at the line of scrimmage for about a loss of 4 yards. The stop made by Campbell Hackney, number 51.
Well, you have to give the Rough Rider defense credit. They're not folding their tents. They're hanging right in there, trying to create a turnover to get the offensive ball back in a hurry.
I'll tell you another thing. I haven't seen 5 people leave the park. The score is 41-15. It's very, very unlikely that Saskatchewan is going to win this football game, and yet they're all staying here. Great. Second and 14, Toronto. Holloway looking for Terry Greer, too far.
Conrad Holloway took a real good hit from 46 Bernard West.
The Argos are thin at that spot, too.
Certainly are. We saw Mike Williams warming up on the sidelines, and I would expect with the score 41-15 that Bob Obilovich would like to give him some work.
Well, the injured Argos are back in Toronto. I know Joe Barnes and all his teammates back in Toronto will be excited at this victory. Joe is not expected back for another couple of games. 41-15, Toronto leading Saskatchewan, Toronto punting. Another good one. And Stuart Fraser was going to make the catch. Didn't make any difference because the ball was out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. It is Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 15, and we'll be back in just a moment.
In just a few seconds, I'll give you an address that could change your career. An address that could help you find the job you've been dreaming of and help you land it. It's where you write to get this, the National Business Employment Weekly. Every week, the National Business Employment Weekly gives you hundreds of executive, managerial, and professional jobs available across the nation. Top jobs in top companies, paying $25,000 to $250,000. And no-nonsense articles like these with advice on resumes, career advancement, salaries. Every week, the kind of jobs you've been dreaming of and the help you need to land one. Now, here's that address. To get the next 8 issues rushed to you by first-class mail, just send a check for $29 to National Business Employment Weekly, Box 9999, Springfield, Massachusetts, 01101. Or call, toll-free in the Continental U.S., 800-228-5505. That's 800-228-5505. Major credit cards accepted.
Well, they're in very poor field position, stuck inside their 10-yard line, but when you trail 41-15, you need points, so I would anticipate Joe Adams will be throwing anyway. Fires over the middle, it's no good. The young quarterback, though, he stands in there good. He doesn't bounce around. He sets up and fires.
Well, he does. Get a chance to see Cedric Minner thanking some of his linemen because they've certainly opened some big holes for him. He's had 2 touchdowns and an exciting 72-yard run here in the second half. But you're right, Pat. Joe Adams has looked very impressive.
He came on in the second half to replace John Hufnagel. Flag comes down. Adams delivered the ball. It was incomplete. Looking for Emmanuel Tolbert. And I would anticipate a holding call against Saskatchewan here. Let's see.
Saskatchewan 69, decline, third down.
Don Swafford, the left offensive tackle, assessed the holding penalty. The Argos declined it, of course. And Saskatchewan will be booting with 9:15 left to play in the ball game. Argos capitalized on a lot of opportunities for the biggest victory in Bob Hobilovich's young coaching career. He beat Montreal, and that was an important game. The first one always is. But to come into Taylor Field and do a number on the Riders has got to be very satisfying. Ken Clark averaging over 45 yards tonight. This is a good one. It's over the head of Jan Karinsky. And Karinsky is back to his 30-yard line to take it. And only gets to about the 33 before he's swarmed under. A 71-yard boot by Ken Clark. Down quickly for the Argos. Or rather for Saskatchewan was number 62, Al John.
First and 10, Toronto, starting from the 34-yard line.
Well, both punters have really enjoyed good evenings tonight. It must be that clean air out here in Saskatchewan.
Must be something because we're both really getting into it. That's true.
It's also the lack of wind that's a rarity, as you know, out here, Lee.
That's quite true as well. Holloway's going to put it up, does. Throws the screen to Bob Bronk. And Bronk is into Saskatchewan territory at about the 48-yard line. That was made by Vince Goldsmith.
Setting up the screenplay to Bob Bronk, and he's enjoying an excellent evening, picking up his first touchdown of his pro career. But number 53, Doug Smith, the center, peels out, forms that blocking wall for the screenplay, as we'll see coming up, and he just throws an outstanding block to spring Bronk free at the bottom of your screen there. And Bob Bronk running the football very well.
Now, doesn't he look like a tough guy to bring down? And he gained 28 yards. This pass is picked out. Ron McDermott will go all the way for the touchdown. .71 yards. The interception returned by Fran McDermott.
Well, Conrad Holloway really tipped where he was throwing that football, looking for Paul Pearson all the way, but Fran McDermott steps in front, making the interception all the way down the sideline for the touchdown. I don't know, Pat, 20 points is a lot, but with 7 minutes and 43 seconds left, I've seen a lot of strange things happen in the CFL.
Longest interception return of the year. Fran McDermott. And the Riders, let's see, are they going to go for two? Yes, sir. Adams throws, and it is no good. Let's take a look at it one more time, Lee.
Well, a timely interception, maybe a little bit too late, but nevertheless a great play for the rookie Fran McDermott as he stepped in front of Paul Pearson, picks up some blocking down the sidelines, and just simply outruns number 50 Tom Trefo, and he's into the end zone.
Well, is it too late? We'll find out when we come back. It is Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 21, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, here's the kickoff, and they like to go deep. It rolls into the end zone, and Mitter's going to run around back there, eat up a little bit of time, and now concede the single point. So it makes it a 41-22 score. Funny, Leaf and I were talking about the strategy on that kickoff. I would have elected to kick off deep, but I would not have wanted the ball to go into the end zone. I would have liked to try to contain them inside the 10 or so. Leaf, you kind of thought they'd go for the short kickoff, right?
Well, I really did, Pat. I think with 7.5 minutes remaining in the ball game and being down by 3 touchdowns, that really the time was right for the short kick. But I think he made a good point, really. I think the idea would have been on that kickoff to try and pin Toronto deep into their own territory, as you said, and not kick it into the end zone. But nevertheless, they elected to go for that single point. And
well, let's see what the Argos do now. They start from their 35-yard line. Holloway throws. Greer makes the catch and then is wrapped up immediately by number 21, and that's Marcellus Green. Now, let's see how much he made. He made about 6 yards. Ball is at the 41-yard line, so it is 2nd and 4.
Well, I would expect at this time to see the Saskatchewan Roughrider defensive backs come up and play the Argo receivers a little tighter. They have to really gamble and take a chance to try and force the turnover as they did on that last series with Fran McDermott.
I'd bring those linebackers right now if I was Saskatchewan. I want to get some heat on Conrad Holloway. You know he's going to be putting it up. 2nd and 4. He puts it up for Martin Cox, just too far. All right, for 6 minutes, 52 seconds left, and the Argos will be punting. A lot of strange things have happened over the years here at Taylor Field in Regina. This one looks out of sight, 41-22, but is it?
Well, we certainly have seen some unbelievable finishes to CFL football games, and as Pat said, it's a long way to go, but certainly a distinct possibility the Rough Riders could come back.
Well, you were involved in a few of them with Mr. Lancaster at the controls, so...
Tell you what, when Ronnie was playing quarterback, we were never out of a ball game.
Van McDermott and Stuart Fraser back to receive this punt from Lieutenant Andrew Sisson. He's averaging 50 yards tonight. It's another good one. Fraser from his 12-yard line. And he gets to the 20, and the flags come down. 59 yards, the boot by Andrew Sisson. Boy, he and Ken Parker really punted well. Now, is there some kind of an illegal block on the play? Let's see. Stuart Fraser, he made a costly fumble in the first quarter, and that enabled the Argos to get rolling. Here's the call.
Clipping on the return. Number 21, Saskatchewan. Penalties half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Marcellus Green called for clipping. The penalty, as you heard referee Jim Hope Ross say, is half the distance to the goal line. It puts the ball inside the Saskatchewan 10-yard line. 6 minutes, 25 seconds left to play in the ball game.
Well, not an ideal position to start when you're behind, but a long way to go for Joe Adams and his offense.
Joey Walters makes the catch and is out to the 30 or 31-yard line. Stop was made by Leo Gray. If Joey had ever been able to duck underneath that tackle, again, it was an open field in front of him.
We've said it before, but you have to be impressed with 747 Adams because he's really come in the second half and done a job, and had they not been behind by so much in the first half, you know, it really could have made a ball game, and maybe he still will.
I would think Obie's getting a little bit concerned. He'd be concerned if they score another touchdown quickly. Adams throws. The catch is made by Krista France to the 49-yard line. It'll be another Saskatchewan first down. Gerald Wilson, number 13, making the stop for Toronto.
Well, Toronto sitting back in that zone coverage, and the two inside receivers to France and Joey Walters just finding the soft spots in that zone. And here a good throw by Joe Adams as he gets it in there in between the linebackers, but the Rough Riders are moving.
5 minutes left in the ball game. He puts it up for Walters. Oh, and he just couldn't hang on to it. And Joey is swinging against the an interference call. Assessed against Leo Gray, but there is no flag.
Well, Joey Walters complaining of maybe a face guarding violation by Leo Gray, but really good defensive coverage, and usually that's the over-the-shoulder catch here, and really that's usually the kind of catch that Joey Walters will come up with, but that time couldn't hang on to the football.
Well, with 4 minutes, 45 seconds left, you know that the Riders are going to be playing 3-down football now. won't be any more punting, I wouldn't expect, for them. Throws, the catch is made by Chris DeFrance. He'll be short of the first down. He only got to midfield. The gain will be 6 yards. Stop was made by Jeff Gabrielson, the linebacker, number 72.
It'll be third down and 4.
Well, he's going to be throwing for it. Yes, a good night for Bob Bronk, a good night for all of the Toronto Argonauts. Big underdogs coming in, leading right now by 19 points, 41 to 22. With 4 minutes left to play in the game. Made by Ron Robinson at the 47-yard line. It will be a first down. Jojo Heath on the defensive coverage.
Well, a clutch catch by number 9, Ronnie Robinson. As the ball is thrown low, but he goes down, and I don't know, it looked pretty close to me, but nevertheless, the first down was made, and the Roughriders are still alive.
3.5 minutes left to play. First down. Riders at the Toronto 46. Adams fires it down the middle. No good. He was looking for Culver, number 19. Actually, the guy who had the best shot at the ball was Zach Henderson, and he really didn't have much of an opportunity to make the interception.
Well, I think that was a desperation-type pass, but in the past with Joey Walders, he's come up with so many great catches in traffic that it's really not a bad percentage play.
Only 7 penalties in the ball game. It's been well played.
You can see Joey Walders getting a little rough treatment from number 72, Jeff Gabrielson, but that's all part of the game.
Second and 10 with 3 minutes left to go. Adams throws. No good. Culver tried to come back to the ball, but he couldn't squeeze it. Don Rose was on top of him. Okay, we've got 2 minutes, 59 seconds left to play. It is Toronto 41, Saskatchewan 22. We'll be back in just a moment.
The number one moment for any rookie has to be scoring his first touchdown. Bob Bronk of Queen's University, I imagine that's the case with you.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's kind of unbelievable. My parents drove up for this game, so I'm pretty happy about that.
How did you get the touchdown? How do you remember it?
Well, it was a trap play, and Dan Ferroni made a great block, and I just saw the hole, and I said, no one's going to stop me. I just ran right in there.
Savor it.
Yeah, I will. Thanks.
Well, this is the last gasp for the Riders. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left in the game. 3rd and 10. The Argos come across outside, number 79, Rusty Olson. Well, that'll make it a little easier.
I tell you, I think the official's going to call Toronto for jumping offside, but really it looked like number 69, the left offensive tackle of the Roughriders, Don Swafford, moved a little early. Be interesting to see how they interpret this.
Illegal procedure, number 69, Saskatchewan.
Boy, good call.
5-yard penalty first.
Good call, Lee. Don Swafford, the left tackle. You can hear the fans. They're not too happy because, as I did, they saw Rusty Olson jump outside, but Olson moved, obviously, when Swafford moved. Well, they were going to assess a 10-yard penalty, but now they've marched it back to 5.
I'll tell you, Joe Faragelli was halfway out in the field there, making sure they only took him back 5 yards.
It's 3rd and 15. Now, what's happening here? Joe Adams, when he was taking his drop, stood around and had a conversation with Jim Hope-Ross, and then just flipped the ball in the air. Rick Moore picked it up. The play has been whistled dead. I didn't hear the call, did you?
I didn't understand the call at all, Pat. And I'll tell you one thing, though, that Joe Adams, he must have known what was going on, because really, it's not a very smart play to flip it to the defensive guy if you're not sure what the call is going to be.
Well, I think he said to himself, I may as well flip it to him so that he won't hammer me.
Tell you what, that's what I would have done.
Okay, the clock is stopped with 2:45 left to play. It's 3rd and 15. Colbert tried to make a diving catch, but it hit the turf first. And so the Argos will take over with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the ball game, and obviously they've got this one wrapped up now.
Well, I would say so. Really the last gasp for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and that pass coming up just a little short, but we see 7:47 leaving the field. He has to be somewhat pleased with his performance because I think he's been pretty impressive in the second half.
Oh, absolutely. They only had 2 points at halftime. They've got 22 now, so he's generated 3 touchdowns. Pass goes to Bronk, and he just did not get away. Charging number 76. Wizard of Woz, Lyle Woz-Dzezinski. First down, Saskatchewan 23, Toronto 11.
Well, there's the fella you talked about, Bad, JoJo Heath, and he and his pals on defense have to be very pleased. They played very, very well tonight.
Well, as I said before, I don't want to go back to the hotel because I know JoJo's going to be on my case.
He'll be looking for you.
Total yards, 365, Saskatchewan, 352, Toronto. 5 turnovers, however, by the Riders. Only 1 by the Argonauts. Conrad Holloway will be very close to a first down. He's inside Saskatchewan territory at about the 50-yard line, brought down by Fran McDermott, number 29.
Well, I really don't think that kind of play will please head coach Bob Abilovich at this stage of the game. With Toronto ahead 41-22, you certainly don't want your number 1 quarterback running the football, especially when you have such an inexperienced backup as Mike Williams with Joe Barnes on the reserve list. But I'm actually quite surprised that Conrad's even attempting to throw the football.
Yeah, when your number 2 quarterback and your number 3 quarterbacks are both banged up. June Jones, of course, is gone for the season after that knee operation. Obi was telling me he's going to bring him back as a coach if he wants to come back because he thinks he really has a good football mind. So it's 3rd and inches for the Argos with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. Let's see if Holloway keeps it himself. On previous short yardage situations, he did just that. Well, he gives it instead to Cedric Minter, and he should have the first down. It is first down, Toronto, with 1:58 left to play in the ball game, and the Argos comfortably in front, 41-22. And with this victory, they will move into sole possession of first place in the Eastern Conference with a record of 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie. They will be a point ahead of the Hamilton Ticats, who will be at home tomorrow night for the Calgary Stampeders. And just a reminder, these same Riders will be in Toronto on October the 30th, and we'll have that game for you on CTV. Brock, the ball carrier, takes up about 5 yards as he gets inside the 45 to about the 43-yard line of the Riders. And, of course, in running plays, the clock will continue to move. The moment the referee, Jim Hope Ross, moves away from the ball. Well, the Carling O'Keefe Game Stars. Who did you select, Lee?
Well, on defense, the Carling O'Keefe Game Star was unquestionably number 31, Zach Henderson, who was all over the field. And on offense, number 20, also from the Toronto Argonauts, Cedric Minter.
All right. Time permitting, you'll have a chance to possibly have a word with those 2 fellows as Gronk again carries, and he'll come up about a yard short of the first down. Lyle Woz-Dzezinski makes the stop.
And there were so many good plays to choose from in the ball game, but the play that we came up with as our Panasonic play of the game had to be the fumble recovery by Mike Hamillock early in the first quarter, because that really set the tone of the game for the Argonauts. They took the ball in and scored their first major. And so that's our Panasonic play of the game, Mike Hamillock's fumble recovery.
Leaf, is that the first time a lineman has won it that you can recall this year?
Well, certainly in the games that I've been doing, it's the first time this year a lineman has won it. It's about time they got credit.
Cedric Mitter gets another first down for the Argos to the 30-yard line, and now we are inside. 1 minute left to play. 57 seconds officially. Cedric Mitter has carried the ball 6 times tonight for 90 yards, including that 72-yard burst that gave the Argos first down at the Saskatchewan 12, and on the next play, Bob Bronk took it in for his touchdown. Well, the Argos deserve all the credit in the world. They've been maligned by many people, myself included, on my regular show on CFTO in Toronto. But they played well tonight. Bronk, the ball carrier, gets inside the 30 to about the 28. And that moves the clock to 39 seconds left to play. There's no question about it. They are in the right direction, though.
Well, I think so, and I think that's a reflection of the coaching staff. You mentioned earlier in our telecast that Bob Abilovich has been spending long hours trying to put together the right package for this game with Saskatchewan, and certainly he came up with the right things. And so I think the victory tonight is certainly a reflection of the hard work that they've done.
It was 2nd and 9. The toss goes to Mitter, and Mitter is upended as he crosses the line of scrimmage. Good play by Fran McDermott, number 29. And that takes us to 20 seconds left. This should be the final play of the game.
You certainly have to give the defensive coaches of the Argonauts full marks. They knew that the Saskatchewan Roughriders would not run the football this evening, and they put that extra defensive back in, and just 2 linebackers and 4 defensive linemen to rush the passer, and I think that was probably the key in their win tonight.
I can't believe it. Saskatchewan has taken a timeout with 20 seconds left in a 41-22 ball game. Now, why would Joe Faragelli do that?
Well, I have no idea. It seems pretty futile at this point to take a timeout. I really have no idea why he did that. As we see Don Rose and Leo Gray on the sidelines, and they're a happy group. They're a confident young secondary, and they did play well this evening.
Well, let's just run through them again. It's JoJo Heath, number 24, and Don Rose, number 6. They are the cornerbacks. Darrell Wilson, number 13. Leo Gray, number 28, are the safeties. And Zach Henderson is the man who makes it all work. Zenon Andrusishin will try a field goal from the 34-yard line. It is blocked. Billy McBride may go the distance. There's a flag down on the play. Conrad Holloway was able to come across and make the tackle at the 10-yard line. There is a flag down on the field.
Well, you talk about hustle. With only 20 seconds left, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are still trying in this ball game as Steve Dennis came through untouched and blocked that field goal attempt by Zenon Andrusishin. We'll wait for the official call by referee Jim Hope Ross. Really, at this point, it doesn't make much difference, but
Saskatchewan number 25, offside, 3rd down repeated.
So maybe that's why he blocked the kick.
Yeah, you're talking about hustle. Let's give some marks to Conrad Holloway, who had to run a long distance to make that tackle.
There's no doubt about it. As you see at the top of your screen, Steve Dennis just jumps the count a little bit. He does lay out and block the kick. Billy McBride picked up the fumble, but it's all for naught.
And that's Billy, of course, down on the turf. I don't think he's been seriously injured. He probably just has leg cramps again. He's been bothered with it throughout the course of this game. So we're going to do it again.
Well, some people might wonder why at this point in the game, leading 41-22, why the Argonauts would try a field goal attempt. But if there's a tie at the end of the regular season, the point differential can be a factor. So the Argonauts do want to score as many points as they can.
Field goal cry will come from just inside the 30. And it is good. So with just 4 seconds left to play in the ball game, the Argos have gone out in front 44-22. Well, Obie, congratulations, because it's been quite a job. Mike Williams, who just arrived back from town, shakes his hand. You think, Obie, he would be smiling, but you know, he's such a laid-back guy. Well, now he's got a bit of a smile.
Well, he has to be happy. The offense had sputtered in previous games and wasn't able to take advantage of the turnovers that were afforded to them, but tonight they capitalized early on some miscues by the Roughriders, and Bilovich certainly has to be pleased with that aspect.
On what should be the final play of the game, Adams throws. Chris DeFrance makes the catch, then pays dearly for it. As Jeff Gabrielson makes the final tackle of the ball game, the Toronto Argonauts have defeated the Saskatchewan Roughriders 44-22. CTV's Friday Night Football will continue in a moment.